Hey everyone, welcome to the first in the Learning Power Up series, where today we're going to be talking about Google Meet and all the new features that have come to Google Meet. So the idea here is I'm going to try to take 15 minutes or less to kind of show you these, but if you have questions, feel free to drop them in the comment box that's over on the right of the stream. And if we have time at the end, I'll answer them then. Otherwise, I'll send those out later in an email. So we have a lot to cover today, so I want to try to go ahead and get into it. These are all the new features that have come to Google Meet since school year started, and so I just want to run through and give you a kind of rundown of how these work. Now, I will tell you that with these, I can't really show them to you live because I can't do the live stream and the Meet at the same time. So I do have screenshots. So if you need me to clarify, please just drop a comment there and I will try to clarify that a little bit. All right, so I'm going to break it down into kind of 4 or 5 basic areas. So quick access is a really big one. I want to spend some time talking about it, and then I'll talk about the new tools that have come out, settings, and then finally attendance and presenting. And then as kind of a bonus, I want to talk about an engagement strategy that you can use with face-to-face or online students or both at the same time called Four Corners. So getting into it, quick access, you may have noticed down on the bottom left side of your Google Meet window, a little blue shield with a lock-on icon on it. That is your quick access button. And by default, quick access is turned on. Okay, and what that means is with it turned on, that any user that is inside of Royce City ISD can actually, with the link, join that meeting. In most of our cases, we don't want students to do that. But if you're working with teachers in your meeting, you want quick access on. Now, the nice thing about quick access is you can turn it off at any time during the meet. So I usually will turn it on and leave it on for a couple of minutes, make sure everybody's there, turn it off, and leave it off for the rest of the meet. And then all kids leave the meet, you close it and exit the window, it closes that meet down and no one can get back into it. So really nice feature there. That is quick access. So again, students probably want to turn it off. Teachers, you want to leave it on. Now, unfortunately, it's not a sticky setting, meaning it'll turn back on the next time you open the Meet. So you need to come back and change that again. Okay. Now with the Meet tools, there are 3 new tools here: breakout rooms, polls, and Q&A. And I'll kind of go into details about all 3 and how they work. So the first is breakout rooms. So the features up in the top right corner, it looks like 3 little shapes. Those are your tools. And when you click on it, breakout room is one of the options. What I like about the breakout rooms is that you can set the number of rooms that you want to have based off your class. And it'll automatically put kids into rooms. So you can see there, I have, just using my kids, I have Reese, Tucker, and Colin. I created 2 breakout rooms that automatically created breakout rooms and dropped the kids in there. I can drag and move those kids anywhere. So I can move, for example, Tucker, I can move from room 1 to room 2, or I can take him out of a breakout room and put him in the main room with me. I can also take myself and move myself into one of the breakout rooms. Okay. Once I'm ready to launch them, I can either view each room by clicking on the breakout room button, or actually down at the bottom of the screen, there's a button to launch the breakout rooms. And it'll push all the kids to their breakout room. And then you have the option once you're in there to close all the rooms and bring them back into the main Meet. From there, I can shuffle the groups and have them have different partners each time. But if you don't shuffle, you can actually push kids into a breakout room, have them have a conversation, pull them back out, talk as a whole class, and put them right back in the breakout room. It actually keeps those rooms for you, which is a nice feature. So we used this the other day, and it worked really well for us. The next is polls. So polls are exactly what you think they are. In the top view here, you can see this is kind of the teacher view, where the teacher can create a question, have as many choices as they want, and then push the poll out, and the kids will see this and they can vote or put an answer in or whatever. And teachers see the results live on the screen and can even show the results to all the rest of the kids. So it's a good way to do checks for understanding, and those types of things. And those polls save so you can access them later. Then also the nice thing about it is when you end the meet, it's going to give you the results emailed to you. So you'll get a spreadsheet that has what every kid put for every poll question, and break it down there. Again, really nice picture. The third of the tools is Q&A. And I like to use one as an alternative to the chat. So I will turn chat off, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. And then I'll turn on the Q&A. And the reason I do that is, one, it lets me organize questions. So as kids ask questions, they type in like they would a chat. It pops up, and then I can interact with that question and prevent the kids from putting things inappropriate, or if they do, I can remove that comment. So you can see here, I can mark that I've seen it or not seen it. I can check that I've answered it, or I can delete that comment. But also kids can thumb up and say, hey, I have that same question too. So it's a really nice way to ask questions. Now, if you want the kids to interact, turn the chat on. But if you don't want them interacting and just asking questions, I would actually turn off chat and turn on Q&A. So really nice. The other thing about this is that, again, once the meet ends, it's going to send you a copy of all of the questions asked, who asked them, did you answer it, the kids still need understanding. So again, great feature. So that is the meet tools. Okay, next is quite a few changes to settings. So we're going to talk about change background, change layout, host controls, noise cancellation, and Jamboard. You can find settings by going to the bottom right of your meet and clicking the three dots. This menu opens up, and you can see the different settings here that I'll be talking about. So the first, this one's the newest, it's changing background. So it's available for all of your PCs. And okay, Laura asked a question about the polls. Yes, you not necessarily before the meet, but if you want to open the meet, you can start putting questions in before the kids join. But you actually have to be in the meet to have the questions there. Oh, you're welcome, Bailey. The background, it will work on your desktop, it will work on your Chromebook. It works on some kids' Chromebooks. If they're older Chromebooks, it may not be there, but newer Chromebooks should do it. Just keep in mind, it uses a lot of processing power. So if they have a bunch of tabs open and they're using background blur, it's not going to work very well. But the options here, which I really like, is to have no blur. The next option over is to have kind of a light blur, a heavy blur for the background, and then they actually have some presets. And that's what you see in my background here. That's not my office. I was in my office, turned on the new background, and you can see it looks kind of like I'm sitting in a new place. This is really good for kids who are at home that maybe are embarrassed with what's behind them. So they can kind of change their background to something and kind of hide hide what's going on in the background, make them feel a little more comfortable with turning that camera on. The next is changed layout. This was one of the first features to come out, and many of y'all have used this. So you go into your settings, go to change layout, and you have this tiled layout and sidebar, and you have the option to adjust how many windows or tiles you see at a time. You can go all the way up to 49 or as few as 4. The sidebar option gets you up to 16 now. There are plans to make that more, but I don't know the timeline on that. Unfortunately, this one is also not a sticky setting, which means each meet you have to go in and make that change. But hopefully they'll make that adjustment. Okay, the next one is noise cancellation. I really like this if you're teaching hybrid. You go into your settings and you turn on noise cancellation. What that does is background noise is going to suppress that, including voice. So kids in the room talking, it's going to make that quieter so that the kids at home can hear you a little bit better. So very cool feature, and that works on all devices. Kids at home can do the same thing. So if they're at home and they got a baby sibling at home that's crying, they can turn that on and help reduce some of that noise. Okay, the next one is Jamboard is integrated into Meet. So if you're using Jamboard already or have one, you can actually pull that directly into the Meet. So the kids have access to it right there. It does open in its new window automatically. So when you You create it. It'll open for you, but you do have to ask the kids to go into the Meet information to get that. So that Meet information is down the bottom left corner of the Google Meet window. So that's one thing I don't like. I wish it would open for the kids themselves. All right, last couple of things is Google Meet attendance. This one I absolutely love because it helps with not having to document it on the fly. If you have a meeting with 5 or more people in it, you will automatically get emailed to you the attendance for the day. And it's going to show you the student's name, their email, how long they were in that meet, when they first joined, and when they last left. So if they came in and out multiple times, it's going to show them the whole time they were in the meet and the last time they left, or when they were kicked out. Either way. The one thing I don't believe it's doing yet is I don't believe it's titling those files just yet. So for secondary teachers that are doing multiple meets throughout the day, it does get a little confusing because you're going to get 6 or 7 emails, each one of those with kind of a randomized title. So, so that is a bug they still have to work out, but hopefully they get that fixed. So that's that. All right, another update that's been around for a while, but not a whole lot of people use it, and this is really useful for teachers who are teaching hybrid, is when you join a meeting, most of us use the Join Now button. There's actually 2 other options. There's Present and Cast. Now, Cast doesn't help us a whole lot because we don't have Chromecast connected to our projectors, but Present does. When I click on Present, what it's going to do is going to share my screen only. It's not going to share my computer or my microphone. It's not going to share my camera. So if I'm presenting, say from my Chromebook or from my desktop, however you want to do it, it actually kind of acts like a screencast. It's going to put your whole window on the projector, not the plus your camera like I am right now. Okay, so I love using that Present feature when I'm working with 2 devices. So one device I present, the other one I join, and that way I kind of get the best of both worlds. All right, so we're doing good. I got 3 minutes left, so I'm going to go through this. So if you want to read more about the updates, there's a link right there. And there's the slide deck will be on the website after this meets or after this video, so you can get to that. Yep. All right, so bonus strategy. So this one's called 4 Corners. It comes from Lead Forward. And so the idea is you have, we say 4 choices. It could be 1, 2, 3 choices, 5 or 6, how many ever you want, but you create choices and the kids online are going to hold up a finger and tell you, what is their answer. So this encourages them to turn the camera on and actually interact. So they hold their fingers up and say, I'm a 2. And then the teacher can, a couple different ways. If it's a small enough class, you could use the breakout rooms and resort them and put them in the right rooms based off of that. But if it's a little bit larger class, that may not be feasible because that's a lot of dragging kids around. So using Jamboard and saying, okay, all of the 1s go to page 1 of the Jamboard and write down why you selected 1, and all the 2s go to page 2, and all the 3s go to page 3, and all the 4s go to page 4, and you get to see that live interaction with the kids, and they work on that, and then you bring them back into the Google Meet. The same thing can work face-to-face. You're actually using corners of the room. In a normal situation is the way you would do it. With COVID, you don't necessarily want them congregating, but you could use this Jamboard idea inside the classroom as well. So that is our bonus strategy, 4 corners. All right, and with my last minute, I want to remind you of the upcoming sessions. Tomorrow is, oops, I forgot to update that slide. Tomorrow is Faster Feedback with Moat. On Thursday is note-taking. It's actually not called Taking Better Notes anymore. I need to fix that. And then you can see the ones coming up. You can register if you have not registered yet at bit.ly/learningpowerup, and that'll take you directly to our website. That's also where you can see the resources. And then here's the ones coming up in December. Okay, you can see we'll end on December 17th with the Google Classroom app. All right, it is 12:15. That is my time. Thank y'all very much for watching, and y'all have a wonderful day.